My name is Daniel Cross, and I'm 32 years old. This isn't the kind of thing I ever thought I'd share. But lately, I can't sleep. I can't work. I can't even look at a letter without remembering what happened. Maybe telling this story will get it out of my head, or maybe it'll just make it worse. It all began 3 weeks ago, on a rainy Saturday morning. I was cleaning out my late uncle's house. He had passed away, and the place had been left to me. It was an old Victorian home, filled with creaking floors and dust that clung to everything. While emptying a desk drawer in the study, I found an envelope wedged under a false panel. It was yellow, brittle with age, the paper crumbling at the edges. Written across the front in familiar handwriting were the words, "To Daniel Cross, from Daniel Cross." Dated 1974. My blood ran cold. I wasn't even alive in 1974. At first, I thought it was some kind of joke, maybe a distant relative messing with me. But when I opened the envelope, my hands began to shake. The handwriting inside was mine. The same uneven scrawl, the same slanted letters. The letter read, "Daniel, if you are reading this, then I succeeded. This message has crossed time. Listen carefully. Do not stay in this house past midnight. The shadows here are not what they seem. If they notice you, they will not let you leave." I laughed nervously, trying to dismiss it, but the laugh felt hollow, forced, because deep down, I knew this wasn't a joke. That evening, I decided to test it. I stayed in the house after midnight. At first, nothing happened. I sat in the study, sipping coffee, glancing at the letter every so often. But at 12:17 a.m., I heard a sound, like paper tearing. I turned to the desk. The letter was gone. In its place was a new envelope. My name was written on the front, same handwriting, same yellowed paper. Hands trembling, I opened it. "You shouldn't have stayed. Now they've seen you." The moment I read it, the corners of the study seemed darker. The shadows weren't still anymore. They pulsed, like they were alive. I grabbed my keys and fled the house, not daring to look back. I tried to convince myself it was just stress. But the next morning, another envelope appeared on the kitchen counter of my apartment. I live alone. This letter read, "Do not look into mirrors at night. That's where they'll watch you." From then on, letters started appearing daily, on my desk at work, in my coat pocket. Once, I found one sitting on the seat of my locked car. Each carried warnings. "Do not open the door if you hear scratching. Do not answer when they call your name. Do not read the final letter." One night, exhausted and paranoid, I went to wash my face in the bathroom. When I lifted my head, I froze. My reflection didn't move with me. It stood there, smiling, while I stared in horror. Then, in my own voice but deeper, it whispered, "They're behind you." I spun around. Nothing. When I looked back, the reflection was normal again. The next morning, another letter was waiting on my pillow. "I warned you about the mirror." A few nights later, at exactly midnight, I heard it. Scratching. Slow, deliberate, right at my apartment door. At first, it was faint, like fingernails. Then it grew louder, sharper, like claws tearing at the wood. Every nerve in my body screamed to open the door, to see who or what was there. But I remembered the warning. So I sat on the couch, paralyzed, while the scratching grew frantic. Then it stopped. Silence. And then, with a slow drag, an envelope slid under the door. I picked it up with shaking hands. "You did well not to open it. but they know you're listening now. The last envelope came during a storm. I found it waiting on my desk when I came home from work. The paper was darker this time, smeared with something that looked like blood. It read, "Daniel, this will be the final letter. I am you, 50 years older, and I am already gone. The shadows are not tied to the house. They are tied to us. Every choice we make, every fear we feel, they grow stronger. That's why I'm lost. That's why you will be next. Do not resist them. Do not run. When the clock strikes midnight tonight, they will take you, like they took me." I ripped the letter apart, screaming. But no matter how many times I tore it, the pieces slid back together on the floor, reforming the words. That night, I sat awake in my apartment, watching the clock. 11:59. The shadows in the corners stretched higher, twisting like smoke. 12 o'clock. The letters scattered across the room lifted into the air, circling me. 12:01. Whispers filled the apartment, dozens of voices layered together, all calling my name. 12:02. One shadow separated from the rest. It grew taller, wider, its hollow eyes fixed on me. 12:03. It leaned close. I felt its icy breath on my ear. And in a voice that was exactly my own, it whispered, "Welcome back." I woke on the floor the next morning. The letters were gone. My apartment was quiet. For days, nothing happened. I started to think it was finally over. But yesterday, while cleaning out my briefcase, I found a new envelope. Yellow with age. My handwriting. It said, "To Daniel Cross." From Daniel Cross. Dated 2074. So what do you think? Was Daniel cursed by his own future? Or did something else use his name to lure him in? Tell us in the comments. What would you do if you got a letter from yourself dated 50 years ago? And if you've ever had something strange happen with a letter, a mirror, or even a shadow in your room, share your story below. Because sometimes, the scariest messages are the ones we send to ourselves.